Hey everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. I don't know if any notifications are going to go out on this. One of the problems with doing a lot of content on YouTube is that I think they send out notifications about twice a day for things that you do. So if you're doing it, sometimes they go out, sometimes they don't. And the more you do in a day, I mean, on the bright side, our 5 and 5. Like, if you don't know we're going live at 5 and 5, then you probably haven't spent a lot of time on the lifeboat in the first place. But this, I wanted to go live today because I had something really unusual happen to me, and it was hello, Daryl, happy puffin. I had something really unusual happen to me, and it was one of those things that just kind of floored me. And then it started a conversation with somebody, and they said something that floored me even more. Which was kind of a bummer. But I saw a picture of one of the Jane Does from the Danny Masterson trial, and that had never happened. I'd never seen any of them. And to be really honest with you, there was something very, very odd about putting a face to this. It became very human, and it really got me thinking, because to come forward and talk about that type of attack happening is probably the most difficult thing that any human would ever have to muster the courage to pull off under the best of circumstances. And then the situation can become more difficult, and there's nothing you couldn't have added to this to make it more difficult, right? The person being famous, there being drugs involved to knock the person out, and then that wacky freaking organization that man is a member of in good standing. All of this just adding into to make this, these three people did probably the most heroic thing that you can possibly imagine, and didn't just bring a dude to justice, which is a really freaking important thing. Let's keep that real. But science basically tells us that the people that do this continue to do this. The people that do these kind of things, it's about control, and it's about all kinds of other crazy mind stuff. It's a very, very sick individual with a very, very twisted and broken freaking mind. But those people don't stop doing what they're doing. And these courageous women stopped this from happening to anybody else, which is freaking huge. And on top of all of that, they probably have really put a dent in the ability for this. I can't use the word church, man. I can't pull it off. I swear to you, like, I can't spit the word church out in regards to this freaking cult. I just can't do it. I don't know. It's disrespectful or whatever. I cannot bring myself to call that friggin' thing a church. Any organization that separates you from loved ones, right? There's nothing church about that in any freaking way. But I just wanted to do a shout out when I saw this person, this photo. I'm not joking you. It literally stopped me in my tracks. The heroism became very real and very very human. You hear Jane Doe, Jane Doe, Jane Doe, Jane Doe, right? Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2, Jane Doe 3. And you forget that, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a dude thing, but I definitely, they're a part of a trial, and they just would, when they become human, it becomes very, very, it's a very different thing. Seeing the picture, it really brought it home that there are three people, there's a person under each of those names that had to walk into court and tell the stories and do all of that, and do it over again, and had to do it for depositions, and had to do it so many times. The amount of courage that had to have taken to muster. There's no way I could convey the amount of respect that I have for what these three courageous women have done. It's absolutely incredible. It really is. It's absolutely incredible, and the results have been fantastic in terms of justice. But I think that the ripples from this are going to go out so much further. I think that you have damaged the ability for that crap organization to pull the kind of things that they've been doing for so long, in trying to allow things like this to go on without any of it being reported to law enforcement. They've done some really twisted, sick, rotten things in that cult, and there's a policy of trying to make things like this go away, and a policy that says you do not call law enforcement. It's just not something that's done. And you talk about just a breeding ground for, horrendous things that could happen. You know what? Kelly C makes an interesting comment. She says, "So happy that those brave women finally have justice. There will be many, many more coming forward, I'm sure." I believe the same thing. I really do. I think that there's probably many, many more people in the wake of what he was doing, and I also just have a really sneaky suspicion that there are going to be not just more victims, but I think that there are going to be. I don't think that he was alone every time this happened. I think that there's reason to believe that. I believe that there's reason to believe that this individual probably had friends that he did this with, and I think that that's something that we're going to see come up. But that's just my personal opinion. We will have to see how that pans out. But it is fantastic to think about these individuals. That's just my personal opinion. We will have to see how that getting justice. That's an important. It's absolutely the most important part of this. I think is that these people realize that justice will be served, and that individuals aren't going to allow. This isn't going to be allowed, and that the church isn't going to get away with this. People aren't going to be allowed to sweep things like this under the carpet. Those days are over, and I think that the legacy of this is going to go a lot farther than Danny Masterson, and it's going to go pretty deep into this cult and the things that are being allowed. I know that there's a hearing today, and I know that AA Ron over on Growing Up in Scientology he's of the opinion that they're going to change the sentencing date. Today, he believes that there's been some collusion between the criminal camp, defense camp, and the civil suit defense camp, and there may or may not be. I don't know. It certainly looks that way because they say things that they should have absolutely no way of knowing. But the civil camp seems to think that this is going to be postponed, and have actually said that out loud, and people have heard them say it. So it's an odd situation with everything that's going on there. But they may or may not postpone this puppy. We're going to see what happens. There's a decent chance that the sentencing could get postponed. But again, this is the church trying to. There's a whole lot of other stuff going on, and there is a vested interest in the church to keep the Danny Masterson thing going as long as possible, because when it's over, the prosecutor from that case is going to start working on what's his name, old Spudweb. No one's going to get that reference, but the not very tall leader of the Church of whatever. That guy. He's not in any danger of dunking a basketball in the near future. Cherry Bakewell, good to see you. Hope things are good on the other side of the pond. No, Ray, they have not finally sentenced him. However, we're getting to that part of this process, and the sentencing is supposed to take place on the 7th of September is when it is scheduled for right now. But there's a decent chance, again, that may get put off. Yankee Kyle, good to see you. 35 years for Yankee Kyle, people. 35 years. Man's been sober. 35 years. It's a very long time. Goosebump, good to see you. What we were talking about, Goosebump, is And you know what the really funny thing too? We'll keep this real. We're a drug channel, honestly, right? We are a channel that talks about addiction, is what we are. We're a channel that spends the vast majority of its time talking about addiction. And we probably would have moved on a long time ago from this entire thing, honestly. But once people started flinging mud at you, once people start getting really pissed because you went over and talked about something, it kind of makes you want to dig your heels in. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It's a great group of people. I dig the whole SPTV crowd. There are a lot of people within its ranks that have suffered with not only addiction, but just people who really need to make changes and are at a place in their life where they're ready to do that, which is a pretty cool crossover. But again, you do everything you can do to smut somebody up. You know what I mean? If you really want someone off of or out of a club or out of a camp or away from a group of people, you should probably just maybe leave them alone and see if that happens. You know what I mean? You start talking trash about them and make videos about them and do the things that you've done. And the next thing you know, the guy wants to be SPTV. I kind of want to hang a thing up here that freaking glows. You know what I'm saying? But to the brave women of this ordeal, right? The three really brave Jane Does that brought this cat to justice and made sure that this dude is going to spend the rest of his life in prison, unable to do this to any woman ever again. I assure you there will be no more essays in his future, and if they are, he'll be on the opposite end of it. Although truthfully, I don't anticipate that happening to him in there. People joke about that a lot. It's probably not in his future. But neither's a lot of really fun days. But to the Jane Does, the absolutely the most courageous things you could possibly wrap your brain around. People think about it. Think of all of the things that they had to walk face first into, right? All of the things that made reporting this more difficult than reporting anything else like it, right? With just the fame and the cult and drugs being involved, and this is not a guy that wasn't wielding some power. This is a guy that had the affiliation of all parties to this cult just made this so much more difficult a thing, and the amount of courage that it took to come forward in the face of all of that, man, you just got to tip your hat. You really do. That's I don't know. You see things like this and you think to yourself, I'd like to believe that I would be made of the kind of stuff that, I would be willing to take the slings and the arrows and whatever would happen so that, you would stand on the side of justice and do the right thing. It is a difficult thing to wrap your brain around. It's super easy to sit here in the chair and say, but of course I would do that, but I think it's a whole other ball game when all of a sudden, you find yourself in that position, because truthfully, the entire world, you're under a microscope, and you go from, having a life to being plunged into something as, as high profile and as, you think about it. Just go over to any SPTV channel and hang out in the comment section for about 15 minutes. You will get a really, you'll come to realize very quickly that there are people from all over the freaking world that are watching this trial. There are people from everywhere that are just knee deep in this. It really is kind of a worldwide phenomenon, which if you think about it is just, adds to the pressure. But on the bright side, what this is doing to, let's be really honest, the Church of Scientology would absolutely love to fly below the radar for the remainder of their time on, for the next billion years that they're, working this program. They would really like to fly underneath the radar, but these three Jane Does have done so much more than just take down Danny Masterson. What this is doing to the Church of Scientology, I think, is devastating. I think it is absolutely devastating, and I think the whole world is looking in, going, "You tried covering this up, right? Your goal was to just make this go away. That was your go-to. You wanted this gone, right? Forget victims, forget anything. Let's get these people together. Let's let's cut a deal because we don't go to the police. Right? Think about that as a concept, people. It's just not done, right? It's not done. Can't do it. What an unbelievable opportunity for a scumbag, right? To victimize people with impunity because you don't think that there's anything anyone's going to do. They can't go to the police, right? They're going to go to the church, and the church is going to protect you because you're a big swinging actor. Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster, and that can just keep going on and keep going on until you come up against three pretty badass females that just said, you know what, that's it. That's no more. Not going to happen. So again, my hat's off to the real heroes over there at SPTV. That these three women have changed the world, and definitely changed the world of that crap organization and the number of people that you may save from similar fates. I hope that on the days when this is tough, because I know that there are days that this has got to be really tough, that they're able to concentrate on the overwhelming amount of good that they have done for planet Earth and for people that they're never going to meet, right? People that they're never going to know. But this is so much more than a court case. It really is. I hope that shines through. This is so much more than a court case. And to you ladies, if this trickles down to you, you are heroes of mine. I swear to you, that is the gospel truth. You are stone cold heroes. It took guts. It really did. It took an unbelievable amount of guts. And I hope that you realize what a difference that this is making. Right? Score one for the good guys. It's nice to see the bad guys occasionally get it. Wow. Everybody see that comment? How about this? Excuse me. I forgot to navash. So it's a great comment. It says, Danny M is still in good favor with the Church of Scientology. What does that say? It says a lot. You're damn right it does. It really, really does. It says an awful lot about it's just, yeah. How is that possible? How is that possible? And you hear about, the people that they do decide to declare subversive people, and it could be your sister, it could be your brother, it could be your mother or father, just because they're gonna, they'd like to separate you a little bit further because it's easier to get cash off of you if the son-in-law or the daughter-in-law isn't saying, "What the hell do you mean you're giving the church $250,000 more dollars?" So they'll separate you. I mean, it is an absolute science. That's what these people do. They separate people from cash, right? And then they don't have to worry about paying taxes on that cash because, well, they're a church, you see. And as a church, they don't have to worry about that. Having lunch and stumbled across you. I knew that just about anybody that got here was going to have stumbled across us. You see, here's what happens, peeps. The YouTube will send out about 2 notifications per channel per day. I believe that's the number, right? Now, sometimes it seems to work better than others. Sometimes it seems to send out notifications in spite of that, and sometimes it just doesn't. But it's a difficult thing. If you're putting up 4 videos a day, like, hey, Aaron, if you're doing 4 videos a day, then people just have to kind of pop by and look at your channel and see what you got going on. And if you're live, that sometimes they'll stumble across one. No, Kath, actually, I'm here to this show was just simply done as a tribute to the Jane Does and the Danny Masterson case. I started the show by saying I saw a photo of one recently, and and it just became very real to me in a way that it hadn't. There's something about the name Jane Doe. You know what I mean? Like growing up a Jane Doe where in the Northeast, Jane Doe was always just somebody that they couldn't identify, right? I never had heard it used until later in life. I never heard it used in a court case or anything like that. It was usually when they found somebody like no longer with us in a park or whatever, that was a Jane Doe until they could figure out what the identity was. But there's just something about the name Jane Doe that just for me, it makes it very, very impersonal. And it's, I don't know, it's easy. Sadly, it's easy to forget that those are three women that just marched into a world of hurt to get the truth out. I mean, imagine, look, there's media from all over the world that descended on this. This is a huge, huge thing. And it was, I mean, you couldn't turn on any of the big news networks without seeing this thing on mainstream media. This was a massive, worldwide thing. And as I was saying in the beginning, for a woman to come forward for any kind of an assault like this is remarkable. Then add on top of that all the reasons this one's more difficult. The guy's famous, drugs were involved. There's the whole Church of Scientology angle, and the fact that all parties are attached to this place, and the undue influence that they can put on the life of anybody that has anything to do with that organization. Right? They are God. They're more than a church. They're more than a government. They're what they say goes, right? So, there was so much that they had to overcome in order to come forward and do this, that it is. Oh, okay, Kath. Yeah, I saw him last night. Was if you met that last night was a good one over there. It's hard to fathom that your Church of Scientology is still backing Danny Masterson, right? It has to be the family money. Well, maybe and maybe not. Here's another angle real quick, right? So this cat's going to court. And the longer that they can drag this out, the prosecutor in the Danny Masterson case is also the same prosecutor that's going to be going to the grand jury on the I'm in no danger of dunking a basketball human trafficking investigation thing, or whatever it is that they've got going on. And I think that's what it is. If I misquoted that, I'm sure an army of their lawyers will be descending upon me like the rats that they are. There is a case of some kind that is being investigated by that same individual, or prosecuted at the grand jury by that same individual. So as long as Danny hasn't been sentenced, the midget isn't going to be doing the grand jury tour. I gotta be honest, man. You watch videos and you read stuff, and they always talk about how that the midget, the guy that runs that organization, and he's 5'1" or something like that. But they're always talking about how this guy is always slapping people and punching people. I mean, there's got to be a real decent amount of terror, that people have for this guy. Because with all due respect, if you're 5'1", man, and you're smacking around a guy that's like 260, 250, I think the only reason that you're not stomping that little guy out like a brush fire is because of the fact that he is the all impote, the Grand Poobah, the high exalted wizard of the Grand Galactic Confederation thing. You know what? I bet he had a field day making up all those names. LRH. For real. I mean, I bet that was fun as hell. He was sitting around going, all right, let's go. We're going to go. And I think this is a little bit evident by the fact that it was Zemu until it was Zeno. Like maybe he started just, but I watched and I did it on here. We actually, I played that audio. I now have the transcript of that too. And that he first spelled it with an M, Zemu. He's 4'13", says Happy Puffin. I absolutely love that joke, by the way. I use it all the time. Hold on one second. I wonder, with all these things that are happening to the Church of Scientology, actors like Tom Cruise and John Travolta, they start getting put together with their church, how it will affect them. You know what, Ray? Here's the thing that's kind of odd about all of that is, so one of the tenets of this deal is they've got these little soup can looking rigs that you hold on to, and they go into an e-meter. And this thing is in some ways, it's kind of like a lie detector test, or at least a third of a lie detector test. It doesn't have the rest of it hooked up, but it is basically, it does what one third of a lie detector test would do. And it is able to measure things on there's a meter on there. In fact, the whole machine is called the e-meter. And as they walk you through, they ask you questions, and then you watch the meter go. And there's a process, and these people are trained in how to. It's like being psychoanalyzed, but it's like being psychoanalyzed with the aid of these little e-meter machines, right? But the reason I bring that up is Kathy is also 5'13". Well, all right, Kath. You must shoot the camera angles at an odd angle. I just had you a lot taller than that. Must be creative filming. But so Ray, what happens is they sit down and they say, okay, John, let's talk about. See, Jason Norwell says Tom Cruise and John Travolta have drank way too much Kool-Aid to ever leave, and also they've gone through every deep, dark secret that they have in life. They've talked about everything they've ever done wrong, every fantasy they've ever had, every weirdo, whatever, while hooked up to these little machines. So when it's all said and done, these people have every single bit of dirt on you that there has ever been, ever. And my gut says that the church probably spent a lot of time trying to cover up things for a lot of their members too. You know, if you need, they're not always. There has to be some benefit, and I'm sure that John Travolta probably, harassed one or two male masseuses, that the church probably helped sweep under the rug. You know what I mean? I think that there's probably been a decent amount of that's gone on. From what they say, John is he's a pretty big fan of the male masseuse. Yeah. And you know what? I don't care what you want to sleep with. That's your business. It really is. But hey, Carol, thank you so much. That's such a kind thing to say. I really appreciate that. We're glad to have you. But I think some of it has to be dirt. Some of it has to be the fact that they've got dirt on these people, like massive amounts of dirt. I just want you to think for a second. Can you imagine if you bought into I don't care what the religion is, but can you imagine if part of the tenets of your religion was that you needed to sit down and every single thing you've ever done wrong, you need to sit down and have a conversation with. And this person's going to ask you every question about it and every nuance about it. And they're going to have everything, a file of all of your dirt, all of the laws you've broken, all of the sick thoughts and twisted fantasies and weirdo whatever that you've ever had. They're going to know it all. And then you say, I think I'm done. I've gotten a lot out of this, but I don't know that I want to keep doing it. And they go, really? How about I just sell this file to the highest bidder? What do you think the people at the National Enquirer would pay for a file on the second shortest guy, old Tommy? Actually, when you see Tom Cruise standing next to the head of that church, honestly, Tom Cruise looks like, like a monster. He's huge. He towers over him. Get up there. Sorry, people. I've been attacked by a calico squirrel. Rumors can cause damage. They really can. And these are people in Hollywood where your reputation is, that's your life. That's your livelihood. That's everything. If you're in Hollywood and you get outed as being, gay, if you're a heartthrob or whatever, I mean, that can dramatically change. Hold on one second. Sorry, people. Yeah, I mean, if they out you when you don't want to be outed, that can really change your career. Sorry. Just wanted to make sure everybody was all right. You know what I'm saying, people? I do have a group of 5. They won't allow you to end your own auditing session. Only they end it when the needle floats. Is that true, Kath? Kath, you know what? The needle float thing, I wish I understood that better. So by way of full disclosure, people, I have held an e-meter in my hands. I got pitched on Scientology by a group of Scientologists. It breaks my heart that Scientology blamed each of the women for getting attacked by that monster. That they pulled it in. It's a disgusting, sick organization. You're damn right it is, Kelly. You're damn right it is. It is a sick and twisted, organization. Maybe that's what I should be saying, right? I can't bring myself to, to call it a religion. It's, but I think that sums it up pretty well right there. Kelly C. Well played. Well played. Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right, people. I am going to. This is an emergency from somebody on the boat, and you know what? Sometimes, like I said, I've got a 5, and this one I have got to take. It would be a bad thing if this individual has a bad day. I am Captain Tommy Scoble. I'm going to be back at 5:00 tonight, people. You know, we're live at the 5s every single day. One more shout out to the super courageous women, Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2, and Jane Doe 3, for doing what you did, for taking down not just this dirtbag, but the church as well. All right, I'm Captain Tommy Scoble on a lifeboat. God bless.